advancement of a nation's built environment is indicative of its growing economy. If you look at old pictures of Dubai, you'd be shocked by the modern city. They turned a barren wasteland into a bustling commercial center where people from all over the world can come to do business and have a good time. However, there have also been some negative outcomes due to the current architectural development frenzy. Here is an astounding compilation of the world's most pointless megaprojects. Welcome to Billionista. If you love videos about luxury living, please subscribe and click the bell so you never miss a video. And don't forget to like and share too. Number 5. Interstate H3 Hawaii. Let's start with an absolutely stunning road in the Aloha state of Hawaii, the Interstate H3 Highway, which is 26 kilometers long, runs through a breathtaking natural environment. It's mind-boggling that they are worried that people would stop their cars in the middle of the road. The roadway is indeed stunning in appearance, but it's also quite contentious. For defensive reasons, the route linking the Pearl Harbor Naval Base on the south and the Marine Corps Air Station on the east was originally suggested in 1960. Environmental groups and Native Hawaiians, fearful of the vast industrialization the project would bring, voiced strong opposition to the plan as soon as it was announced. Plans were put on hold indefinitely due to environmental legislation of the time and a change of course to safeguard the adjacent valleys. After 26 years in 1989, Congress ultimately removed the environmental roadblocks by exempting the project from environmental rules. It took over 37 years from the time the route was first conceived until it was completed in 1997. Because of the challenging terrain it was built on and the cutting-edge innovations used in its construction, Interstate H3 is sometimes regarded as an engineering marvel. The highway avoids the valleys entirely by staying above them, which is accomplished partly by using multiple high-tech tunnels. It cost 5 times as much as originally planned because of decades of setbacks, reroutes, and more advanced but more expensive technologies. The cost to build it was $1.35 billion or $50 million per kilometer, making it the most costly project of its kind in the world. Despite the massive investment, not everyone can benefit from this stunning motorway. It has been called a road to nowhere by skeptics who point out that the highway does not lead directly into downtown Honolulu or that the security concerns of the 1960s no longer apply. Then, there is a situation with Native Hawaiians, where the vast majority continues to reject the H3. They call it cursed, since so many sacred sites were destroyed during construction. Number 4. Ciudad Real Central Airport, Spain. When Ciudad Real Central Airport was conceived, Spain was a major European tourism destination. It was expected to attract Spanish and foreign tourists. This new runway was intended to relieve Madrid's overloaded main airport. One of Europe's 5 longest runways served 2 million passengers at the new airport. Madrid's 70 million seating capacity is much higher. However, preparations were underway to increase capacity to 10 million annually. When it opened in 2009, the $1.3 billion cost may have looked fair. In 2012, the project's company declared bankruptcy, halting all plans. Project location caused issues. Central Airport was 200 kilometers from Madrid, despite its name. This caused complications because most passengers didn't want to travel for hours to the remote site, and most big companies preferred to fly from the metropolis. The airport owed $350 million by 2012 due to a lack of big carriers. Naturally, it came into bankruptcy and was auctioned in 2013. In 2014, TV show Top Gear popularized the abandoned airport. In 2019, the airport was sold to new owners after many auctions, including an outlandish $12,000 offer. The Ciudad Real Airport survived the recent crisis. The new proprietors used the airport's dry climate lengthy runway, and space to house stranded planes with little possibility of customers returning. By August 2020, the airport had 65 planes and was expanding to store over 300. The airport gained much needed business from this innovative storage method. Number 3. Naypyidaw, Myanmar. Another top-gear mega project follows. It's Myanmar's new capital, not a rural airport. In 2002, Myanmar's former military leaders secretly built a new capital. Brazil, Egypt, and Pakistan have moved their capitals. Myanmar's leader revealed his decision in November 2005. Although he didn't reveal the future capital's name, Naypyidaw, the king's residence, was revealed 4 months later. The capital shift's cause was unknown. Some claimed the military leaders feared a sea invasion, while others thought astrologers advised it. The previous capital, Yangon, was largely responsible. Yangon has 7 million residents and is expected to grow by 2050, reaching its infrastructure limits. To aid the British Navy, the coastal city was made the capital. Thus, Myanmar should move the capital to a central place. The new project was developed quickly, and successive governments have invested $4 billion in the city. Naypyidaw boasts a 20-lane motorway, over 100 luxury hotels in 3 hotel areas, golf courses, museums, and a 99-meter copy of a Yangon icon. The population is lacking. The new capital has less than 1 million citizens, most of whom live in the suburbs that were there previously. Why don't people live there? Most residents are unwilling to settle in the city due to poor healthcare, education, and jobs. The city is commonly called a ghost town since it looks abandoned. The amazing 20-lane roadway is almost deserted. Traffic is rare, and occasionally a car drifts along the massive road. Only 12 persons use the city's 3.5 million passenger airport on a busy day. Only diplomats frequent shopping malls on weekends, and hotel lobbies are deserted. The royal capital has hope despite its apparent desolation. Naypyidaw is a futuristic metropolis with a growing population. It's the world's oddest capital and useless for most of the country. Number 2. Forest City, Malaysia. After an apparent ghost city, our next city is a green futuristic smart metropolis on 4 artificial islands with a synthetic forest ecosystem. Forest City's proximity to Singapore attracts investors looking to profit. Singapore has the second busiest port and a strong economy. The second connecting bridge linked Forest City to Singapore in 20 minutes. Forest City's customs facility will let residents freely travel to Singapore. The design promises many green innovations. Forest City will include jungle-like rooftops and vertical gardens. City streets will have 2 layers, one for transportation and parking and one for parks, sports facilities, and transport hubs. The $100 billion city will run on sustainable energy and be finished by 2035. 50 apartment structures, golf facilities, pools, and beaches are near completion on one of the 4 intended islands. This grandiose endeavor faces challenges. It faces many economic and political obstacles. Chinese inhabitants got unfettered access to the city in its early years because China supported the project. Therefore, wealthy Chinese entrepreneurs who couldn't afford their country's rising apartment costs went to Forest City. Mandarin street signs and the few local schools offered Mandarin classes. Malaysians can't afford these apartments because they're priced for Chinese buyers. Opponents called this Chinese investment a new type of colonialism. After a leadership shift, Mahathir Mohamad forbade foreigners from holding Forest City property. Foreigners left and investments were discouraged. Malaysia's directional movement order barred new investment. Uncertainty drove many investors away. By 2020, only 500 people lived in the residential buildings, which is low considering Forest City is built for 700,000. Forest City was likely too ambitious, futuristic, and politically difficult to succeed. Forest City is likely a waste of billions. Number 1. Yucca Mountain Nuclear Waste Repository. A megaproject built around a significant global issue concludes this list. Nuclear waste is rarely discussed. However, improper storage can make it deadlier than anything seen since civilization. Nuclear waste is kept subterranean near its power stations. The research establishment agrees that burying this hazardous material is the cleanest, permanent disposal method. The US government sought a permanent garbage solution in the 1980s. Yucca Mountain in Nevada was the top choice in 1987. It was far from population centers and near the US main nuclear testing site. A 300-meter tunnel complex under Yucca Mountain aimed to store national waste. Yucca Mountain is constructed of millions-year-old volcanic ash and is very remote. Yucca Mountain can absorb radioactive waste without cracking. Nevadans opposed a repository at Yucca Mountain, and Nevada has no nuclear reactor sites, so Congress and the public strongly opposed being the nation's sole nuclear dumping site. Official Yucca Mountain hydrology and geological surveys were also questioned. Opponents argued that the repository would contaminate a nearby water source. Native Americans have used the Amargosa Valley water supply for millennia. Despite objections, the project was approved in 2002, and the Department of Energy started development. Nevada's opposition strengthened. They said transportation exposure would stigmatize Nevadans and hurt tourism. According to the opposition, Nevada only got the repository because of its lesser population and congressional representation. In 2010, the Obama administration found the initiative impractical and discontinued supporting it because it had become very politicized. A state court mandated its resumption again 3 years later, but little has changed. Yucca Mountain isn't in the Biden administration's plans. Nevada seemed to have prevailed after 40 years. After decades of planning, legal issues, and $17 billion, Yucca Mountain remains a useless megaproject. So billionistas, do you know other useless megaprojects in the world? Let me know in the comments. That's it for this time. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.